What's up? It's the Heavyist podcast, weekly worship at the altar of radness. It's been a couple of weeks. Loads of riffs are flying all over the place. It's absolutely mental. It's like a game of dodgeball, but with large metal things. I don't know. That's not very funny.
A game of dodgeball, but with power chords. You just
that's it. That's it. Spin kicks, power chords, dissonant riffs. It's all going. It's been
they're all
here. Mental.
They're all
It
here.
is the Heavyist podcast.
Always here with the latest riffs. Keep you up to date. What's going on? You know it. Your boys. We're back.
We backs. Gary.
Sonny Taylor.
First up. First bloody band.
I'm going to talk about a little underground band you might have heard of. They come by the name of Converge. They're a four-piece hardcore band from Boston. Just up front, it's like when you read Harry Potter and then you were sure that her name was Hermione for about 5 years, and then the film came out and everyone's like, "Oh, Hermione!" Like, who the fuck is Hermione? Yeah, I've always pronounced it Converge, and that's just how it's going to be. Sorry if it's wrong. They released a new album. I think it's their 11th studio album. It's called Love Is Not Enough. It came out on the 13th of February through Epitaph Records. Converge are a band who are obviously very important to a lot of people. I would probably say that they were my first exposure to hardcore music when I first heard Homewrecker on a Rock Sound CD that was attached to the front of a copy of a Rock Sound, which I used to read quite a lot back in the day. I thought it was one of the worst things I'd ever heard. I was completely horrified by it at the time.
Doesn't sound like Sum 41 at all.
No, exactly. At the time, I was like just kind of creeping into like listening to like Glassjaw, but for the most part, I was all about Limp Bizkit and your new metal, and it really did not do me any favors. But it was one of those things that just kept coming back to.
Nobody's taking off their pants or jacket here whatsoever.
I remember, man, one of my funniest memories of being a Converge fan, right? So I got into Jane Doe. Obviously, everyone loves that album. It's absolutely legendary. And then for Christmas, I asked my mum for Petition in the Empty Sky, which is the album before. And I always used to be like, it's Christmas Day, let me listen to one of my CDs that I got for Christmas. And they were like, all right, you can listen to one song.
Did you?
I put on Dead to Me by Converge on Christmas Day on the stereo, which is just this like 7-minute assault. It was one of my greatest
Gary.
Memories of my childhood.
Your nan's been sick all over herself, Gary. Nice one.
I was just trying to eat bacon sandwiches in our pajamas and unwrap presents, and then just the soundtrack of Converge in the background. Oh, good times. I also had the Long Road Home DVD, which I don't know if you've ever seen, but it is absolutely epic. It's just like loads of like camcorder footage from their early days playing in people's basements. There's a bit where they do a set from one of the members of Most Precious Blood's basement, which is absolutely incredible. I went to see them on touring You Fail Me at the Underworld, and it was, we went for one of my friend's 18th birthdays, and no, it would have been his 16th birthday. Anyway, it was terrifying. It scared the absolute crap out of me. People were just getting like their noses broken in the mosh pit and all sorts of stuff. It was madness. It was like a whole new world. And considering I think I'd been to see like El Nino a couple of weeks before, I was just like, I don't know what to expect right now. I was terrified.
To Converge is so sick. That's so sick.
But like over the years, ever since You Fail Me, I have to admit that my sort of enthusiasm for new Converge releases has waned a bit. Like if a new Converge record would come out, I'd listen to it a few times, but I don't think any of them really stuck with me very much. You could definitely make an absolutely sick playlist of tracks, but like whole albums didn't really stay with me. Apart from Blood Moon, but obviously that was a bit different. That was kind of a big departure. It almost doesn't count. It's almost like a completely different band, really, isn't it?
Doesn't
yeah.
I mean,
it says Converge on it.
It's not apples and oranges, is it?
Absolutely, mate. And I kind of was like, okay, new Converge record. Not really that worried. But then I saw this massive outpouring of love for it online. And I was like, all right, go on then, sod it. I'll have a listen. And the first time I listened to it, I actually listened to it at quite low volume because I had like people in the car, and I was listening to it.
You didn't want them to be sick.
I didn't want to upset anybody, but the trouble was, I listened to it at quite low volume and sort of half listened to it, and I got to the end of my journey, and I was like, I think that new Converge album might be really boring. Like, what? I don't know what was happening, but it sounded like it was quite slow.
I listened to it at 40% volume, and
but honestly, I was like, this isn't right. And I saw like loads of people who I love and their taste in music I really respect were like, this album is incredible. So I was like, sod it, I'm going to try this, and I'm going to really like give this a proper, like the listen that it deserves. Try. Absolutely. And immediately I was like, this is probably the best Converge record since You Found Me. This album is absolutely amazing. And I tell you what, Sonny, once a band covers Wolverine Blues, they basically write their own Wolverine Blues.
Is that it?
Yeah, man. This album is just, it's the hardest, moshiest Converge record they've ever made. Like, I can imagine there's plenty of people out there. Like, I used to be in a band with a guy. He had a Jane Doe tattoo, and he basically said Converge are basically a pop band now. And he thought he didn't like anything that they did. I can imagine him, Dan Ryan, if he's listening. Shout out to you, Dan Ryan. I can imagine him being absolutely seething over this record.
Really?
It's like, it's not got the chaos. It's got elements of it, but for the most part, it's just quadruple hard riffs. It's absolutely epic. Like, I can just see, like the kind of bands that Converge core bands that you hear coming around, all just trying to hit a certain point, and then Converge just go, no, here's what you're supposed to be doing. Hold my non-alcoholic pale ale and just release this record. And it's insane. Like, Jake Bannon's performance, like, I'm used to Jake Bannon having this kind of energy of a pterodactyl with his arse on fire, and I don't know why, but on this record he seems
perfect. That is the perfect description of Jacob.
On this record he just seems a bit more like, I don't know,
self-immolating pterodactyl.
Absolutely. But that's just, and you have no idea. He just kind of runs around the stage just going, but like, this is the first Converge record where I think I actually know some of the lyrics. Like, cause he's just, his tone and his delivery is so much, it befits a man of his, like, of his age, of his tenure. It just really works bloody well. He sounds incredible. Kurt Ballou. It's nice to know that when all these bands go to God City, he keeps a little bit back for himself, so that his Converge records are always the heaviest things that he puts out. Yeah. It's nice that we talk about, like, so we talk about that with Fit for an Autopsy and Will Putney quite a lot, right? It's just nice to know that as amazing as everything that he releases is, you always know that the Converge record will be the best sounding thing that he will put out.
It's the new, like, the most up to date thing on the CV.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's the new, like, bass level. And the next record is going to have to top it again, unfortunately. But, yeah, man, this record is just massive. Like, Nate Newton, still undisputed tone god of bass. You hear the verses of Gilded Cage and you're just like, oh my God, listen to that bass tone. That is a bass tone you could fucking marry. It's incredible. Yeah, this is just a really, really savage, hard record. And there is a track on it called Make Me Forget You, which is one of the most interesting vibes of Converge I've ever heard. It's almost got like a melodic punk vibe. Like, it sounds a bit like Strung Out or Propaganda, but with Jake Bannon squawking over the top. Like, it's very different. It's very interesting. There's a lot, like, there's just some of the hardest riffs you've ever heard this band put out. And it's nice to hear that a band this far into their career could still surprise you with something. They could still put out a record and you go, blimey, that's interesting, that's different, and it's really, really bloody good. On top of that, if you haven't checked out, I don't know if you ever seen the From Nothing series on Audio Tree, where they're sort of like, they do these videos with bands. It's like they perform a few songs, then they have a little like interview chat. Like, they'll do like a couple of, but it's not like the weird interviews where the guy's like asking really redundant questions. Like, it's actually sitting down and talking to a band about their music. And Converge did an episode of it, and they played a couple of tracks off of this record, a couple of old classics as well, and had a really interesting conversation as well. I would recommend checking that out if you haven't. It's very cool. Yeah. New Converge record. I mean, it's hardly news that one of the most respected bands in the scene have put out a great record, but they have put out an absolutely amazing record. Like, this is no, like, mid tier of their back catalogue. This is top end. This is an absolutely
Top end.
awesome record.
Superb, mate. Superb.
Yeah, I'd recommend you should check it out because I know you never really. You're not like a big Converge head, but I know you really dig the sort of your Black Breaths and your kind of, all the kind of bands that kind of go for that HM2E almost Converge-y sound. I think that you would really dig this record because you like that kind of style, kind of sound.
It's absolutely on the agenda. I've just been dadding so hard.
Yeah,
had time for very few riffs.
I know exactly what you mean.
I'm in this, like I said, I'm in this slam hole, mate. I can't get out of it. I just can't get out of it.
This might be the remedy.
Yeah.
Might be the hardcore rope that's been chucked down your slam hole to dig you out.
Right, so talking of the slam hole that I do find myself in, the thing that I want to talk about is like something that actually came out last year, right? It came out on the 1st of October, Halloween. Obviously,
sick.
That's the coolest day for anything to come out when it's hard.
You should have said Halloween.
The band is called Squelching. Squelching, Gary.
When you sent me the message saying I want to talk about a band called Squelching, I almost vomited in my mouth. That's the most disgusting band name I've ever heard. I hate it.
It's so brilliant. Like, everything about this band is purposefully disgusting. It is like the entire persona of it is just offensively disgusting. Like, it is just, down to the logo, down to the way it's produced, like all the imagery. Like, it's just, it almost looks like real gore. Like, the covers are just so brilliant. It's like this sort of like layered up paint effect where like it looks like the thing is weeping and bleeding itself. It looks like a living piece of viscera. This band is so much fun, and I did listen to it when it came out, but it was just, it was just crazy busy. And I know it's like, don't usually talk about stuff that's like been out for ages, but I just feel like I'm not seeing like this band sort of out there in the wild. Like, the only time I really saw it was like through Instagram, and then I saw and somebody definitely posted it in the Discord as well. But I feel like this is out there being the most absurdly like hard thing that I've listened to for so long that it just wouldn't. I would not be doing my civil duty if I didn't like just sit here and talk to you about how ridiculously hard this band is. Like, so they operate in a space which is kind of like, it's kind of like a beatdown band and a slam band had a baby, right? It's just
right.
It's just endless breakdowns. Like, there's not really riffs. It's like the whole songs are basically breakdowns with the most insane vocal delivery, right? The vocal delivery sounds like Matt Honeycutt got rabies. Like, it's bananas. So it's not like a traditional, like, it's not, I know when I do use the S word slam, that you're probably like, oh, is it just all squeals and gutturals? Like, but it's not. It's like this hardcore went completely off the end. Like, yeah, like I say, Matt Honeycutt, but like when he sort of transforms at the end of the video game into a bigger version of the boss, like he turns into like Nemesis from Resident Evil or something. Like, it's this just sort of like insane over the top delivery, and it just like it completely goes beyond the level of ignorant. Like, it completely bypasses standard tropes of heavy and mutates into this just staggeringly heavy subgenre. It feels like, I don't know, it feels like Gore slam or Gore beatdown or something like that. Like, I don't even know the correct words to use to describe this. I just love it so much. There's just something about people just making purposefully the most heavy thing they can, and I love it. Like, yeah, the last track on the EP is called Eating Teeth, Gary.
Nice.
Isn't that just, the concept of that is just one of those things that makes you almost be sick when you've heard it?
Yeah,
like,
that's just really unpleasant.
truly unpleasant. Like, this is like the sort of thing, it's like that sort of heavy of like old sort of like gore movies, like movies from like like weird Japanese gore like fetishist movies, like where it's something is just the artistry around just how disgusting it is like to be like adored. It's it doesn't make sense. Like purposefully rank. It's like it's 6 tracks. The EP is called Hurting You, and I just it's just an absolute bloodbath. Just truly bluntly, explicitly graphic. I just love it. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's not really even a review. It's just
sounds really nice.
It's just I just must implore you to put this in your ears.
I can't wait to play it at my next family gathering.
It's so much fun. So much fun. Mate. Bands pushing the envelope, like just going for just crazy ass beatdown. It's just
Hell yeah. Squelching. Horrible band name. Horrible band name. Every time it makes my skin crawl.
I love it.
Next on my list is something that is a bit, I guess it's more in the direction of what you're talking about, but not nowhere near it. As close to what you're saying. Is VARIALS, 5-piece metalcore band from Philly. Their new album is called Where the Light Leaves. It came out on the 27th of February through Fearless Records. So it's their 4th album, but it's their first with their new vocalist, Skylar Conda, who is of the awesome band Cell. We made a separate video about how excited we were about this album. That's kind of where we were at. So does it live up to that level of hype? So at the moment, the only real opportunity that I have to listen to music is when I'm out walking Robin and Ruben, trying to persuade Ruben to have a nap in his bassinet as I walk around the village that I live in. And the fact that I just admitted that just got me assigned a social worker, mate. This record is so violent. It's obnoxious. Like, it's so violent. It's bloody nasty with it. It's, for the uninitiated into VARIALS, they're kind of, they're a metalcore band, I guess, but what they're doing on this album is kind of like new slam. I don't know if that's a thing. It's kind of new metal with a real hard beatdown edge. If you are initiating into the band, it's kind of taking the best aspects of Pain Again and In Darkness and kind of smushing them together, blending those two aspects of what the band do. Like when they did In Darkness, they kind of brought quite a lot of Deftonesy influence and stuff into what they were playing, but coupled with their original like really hard beatdown edge. And obviously we love Pain Again, adore that album. Does this record reach Pain Again? No, it doesn't. Like, we've got to be honest. Pain Again is like a bit of an anomaly, really. I don't think it's going to take something really impressive to kind of hit those levels again. But is this album brilliant? Yeah, it's a great time. It's like the dumbest record for smart people I've ever heard. It's kind of like asking Picasso to do paint by numbers, I think, this record. Like, it's really deep. It's really like layered and intricate, but it's also fucking stupid. And I kind of dig that. It's one of the sort of pound for pound heaviest sounding albums I can kind of remember. Like, there's points when they do these sub drops that just completely blow the speakers out. Beyond the point that you can hear anything. Like, the guitar tone sounds like a tank division rolling through your town. Like, it's just absolutely stupid how heavy this record sounds.
Like, and it just to the point where it does like just blow out all the time. It's like it sounds like purposely distorted, and it doesn't even matter. Like,
they're so unforgiving. And I've tried it on so many different headphones and like speaker setups in my car, in my living room, in my kitchen, anywhere to try and find the place where it doesn't just go every time something really heavy happens. And I can't find it. There's no setup, but obviously it's just done on purpose. It's just made it just hit you really hard, and the effect of it is more important than the actual quality and clarity of the sound of it, and I understand that. It works really well. Skylar as an addition on vocals is fantastic. He's got so much more of a menacing presence than Mitch did, who on the last record, he doesn't quite hit Travis Tabron, but then that's quite a high bar to set for anybody. He's got a voice that cuts through, which is very hard to achieve when you're working on a record that sounds as thick and
when
dense
you've got
as this
the
does.
tones that this does.
Exactly.
It's a wonder you can even like understand anything that's
No,
happening.
it'd be like us trying to record this podcast while someone's launching an aeroplane behind us. Like it's just impossible. And the fact that he
Podcasting
even
from a
comes through
runway.
at all. Exactly, podcasting from fucking Terminal 5. And like, the fact that he actually does cut through, and whoever the guy is at Jake Schroeder found a way to make him fit into the mix. That on its own is impressive enough. I think I really enjoy this record. It's kind of a vibe. Like I think comparing it to Pain Again, which is inevitably you're going to do, it doesn't quite have the bangers that Pain Again does. There's loads of really sick moments. Like there's definitely a menace to it, but it doesn't have the songs that Pain Again does. It's definitely just designed to obliterate music venues. That's exactly like the brief when it comes to this album. You can tell it kind of feels a bit more. It's almost got a vibe like a hip hop record. Like it's just sort of moments that just kind of. It's just like moods, like very very hard, and very aggressive and aggressive, angry moods, but kind of more moods than it is so much riffs and like sing along moments or anything really like that. That's not quite what it's about.
No, I tell you what, I would like if the melodic track or that whole element wasn't in the band. I would respect this album a lot more because I'm not really understanding the point of having those bits in there. Like it's like 2 tracks with bits on there. Like what are you really trying to prove? Like what are you really like gaining from that? There's nobody that's a VARIALS fan that goes, that's my favourite part of the album. It's just not a thing. It's not something that people come to the band for. And I do feel that like the sort of the way of bands doing that and getting worse and like or getting more commercial and like moving towards that, like if that like I'm coming like to like hate that bands do that at all. I mean, I've always hated
the thing
it.
Is,
I'm hating it from like a postmodern perspective now, where you don't need to do that. Like Knock Loose can just go and knock loose. Like
exactly.
And
Orthodox
the thing is, like, didn't do that on the album. Did
Orthodox
they?
didn't do it on theirs. And the thing is, this album is such a turn away from a commercial metalcore sound and so aggressive that it doesn't really make sense to then have it in there. I did enjoy Romance too. Like Romance on In Darkness was so Deftones that they actually owe Steph Carpenter royalties. And I think it was nice to hear Romance 2, which has that kind of similar vibe, but actually feels like a VARIALS song. It still has the heavy parts in it. There's a lot of quite clear Korn influence. Like you listen to like Blissful End, that's got some really clear Korn influence going on it. There's a lot of really really sick stuff going on here. It's not an album that I adore. It's definitely an album that I really enjoy, and like if you're in the gym, stick it on. You're gonna turn into Arnold Schwarzenegger within like 10 minutes of listening to it at the gym, mate. It's ridiculous.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. One superset with this album on your headphones, and you're going to be Mr. Universe. That's the Heavyist guarantee. No, it's a really awesome record. It's not. Yeah. It's not as. I mean, I think maybe I was expecting a bit more. I was a bit. Like maybe I've set myself up for failure by getting excited about the potential of it, and the thing is, off the back of this, I am 100% back on board with VARIALS. Like,
this is such. It's a super happy direction for them to be going
100%.
Like, it's like, this is a properly like this is course correction.
It's 100%. It's course correction. Yeah, it's definitely it definitely heads in the direction that I would want from this band. And if they came through my town playing live, I would 100% go. I would attend. Like I would be there to watch it because it's savage. I'd like to hear what happens, where they go from here. Hopefully, Skylar sticks around and they become more like a more gelled unit. And they just,
I'm going to see them. They're over here with Orthodox. Me and Jolene got tickets in.
Oh shit! When's that?
I think it's like November or something.
Oh wow, that's a while away. But that's
they're
cool.
supporting that. They're supporting Wage War, so it's a nice early night. Absolute banger. Up to London, VARIALS, Orthodox.
What a
and
laugh!
It's like Wage War. So it's
what a laugh!
Absolute banger.
VARIALS, Orthodox, Wage War. Yeah. That's an interesting tire package. Yeah. Where the Light Leaves by VARIALS, definitely worth your time. If you were a fan of the band before and you went off them because of the last record, come back in. The water's lovely.
Yeah, come back in. The water is fine. It's absolutely beautiful. It's hard as hell. Gary, I would like to talk about Hamaar.
Hamaar. Superstar.
Hamaar have just dropped an absolute banger of an album. It's called Necrotic Rituals. And
Of course it is.
Of course it bloody is. And it is another, just a gigantic W for Iron Fortress. Iron Fortress on a generational run right now. Like, just killing the game. What I like about this record and what I like about their vibe is that they're labeling it completely correctly. They're not like calling it just death metal and like it's not, like basically they call it hardcore death. And it's just, I just love that being so on the nose, because that's exactly what they're up to here. And that's what people want. You don't need to be pretending that you're just completely a death metal band anymore, guys. People love moshing and they love disgusting stuff. It's totally cool. Deathcore exists because of that. We don't need to like go,
don't worry about upsetting the old death metal heads. Like, they could just get in the bin. They could just go and see Cannibal Corpse again, and we'll listen to all the exciting new bands that are coming out.
Yeah. People love things that look horrible, sound horrible, and you can spin kick to at the same time. It's all fine. It's absolutely fine to do beatdowns and death metal riffs. And I just love what these guys are doing on this, man. It is really, really sick. It's like, proper HM2. It's a weapons grade HM2 tone. Those thick guitar leads just drenched in that glorious, chunky Swedish death. It is built just entirely for moshing, this whole record. The mix is really stupidly aggressive in favour of the vocals as well, right? It really does overshadow the guitar work so massively. And I'm not mad about it. I think it's hilarious. I quite like it. It's just like that reverb-soaked like vocal delivery over the top of the riffs. I don't mind it, mate. I don't mind it overshadowing them riffs. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I listened to this, and there were moments, what you're saying, where you could almost forget that they were a death metal band because they've got quite a lot of like hardcore riffs. But then that guy comes in with the proper old school echoey, and you're like, oh yeah. It's like they've done it. We are a death metal band. Listen to the production of these vocals.
Yeah. It's just so high in the mix, and it's unhinged. It's like, it's brilliant. It's just directly barking in your face. There is zero pretension around this. There's no unnecessary like storytelling or atmospheric wanderings or things like that. This is music that's made to like just fill floors with people spin kicking and fighting, and like it's just absolutely brilliant to have. There's a track Violator 2, which is so sick. It's just pure beatdown focus, ass beaters, just pit metal, dude. Love it, absolutely love it. And I think this is just a really, really fun record to stick on. It's 10 tracks, 26 minutes. It knows exactly what it's up to. If you're looking for something, to like go for a run with, something like that, like it's just an absolute ass beater. The cover's fantastic. It's like this horrible, like, I don't know, like some sort of like parasite demon type vibe thing. I don't even know what's going on. Do you know when you look at something you go like, I don't know what's going on there, but I like it. Like, I mean, whatever's happening here.
I can't make out a single detail, but I know that it's cool.
I mean, I think that's a geezer that's sort of been flayed and he's got some bones coming up there, but I mean, I don't know what's happening here, but there's a lot of it and I really like it. It's horrible. It's wicked. It's just a lot of fun. Like 10 tracks, 26 minutes, zero filler. It just does not stop stomping. A lot of fun.
Hell yeah. Cryptic Shift. They're a 4-piece death metal band from Leeds. Their new album is called Overspace and Supertime, which is a fantastic album title. It came out on the 27th of February through Metal Blade. This record is more dense than a flapjack made out of dark matter, mate. This album is absolutely savage. It's incredible. There's so much of it, but it's all incredible. But there's so much of it. Like, I know when we were talking about the single, and I was talking about, you know, Imperial Triumphant and Blood Incantation kind of mushed together. And you listen, you think about Imperial Triumphant, there, you know, there's the jazz and there's the avant-garde black metal and all of this. But one of the main staples of Imperial Triumphant's sound is Meshuggah. Cryptic Shift kind of, they're a similar equation, but the varials are all the weirdness and then Megadeth. It's like between the Buried and Megadeth. Like, it's just got this, like, it's absolutely it's absolutely exceptional, but there's just so much of it. Like, you've got to be a real die-hard riff head to get into this album. It's unlikely to be the kind of album that they're going to break through on, because it is denser than a Kevlar jacket, but it is properly sick. It is one of the most impressive pieces of work you'll ever hear. If you're a guitar player and you listen to this album, you're going to be blown away. These guys are just on another level of musicianship. Like I remember we were talking about this album on Messenger, me and you, and I think I told you it's got every riff in it. Like, every riff. Every riff that's ever been conceived is on this album.
Done supermarket sweep down the riff sheet.
It's got literally all of them. But
it's mathematically got every riff.
But it's 100% designed to weed out the posers. You know, anyone who's like, oh, I like the last Blood Incantation record, let me check this out. They're going to be like, this is going to be a bit much for me. This is, sometimes you listen to the record and it feels like you're playing a game of Jumanji. Like, it's absolutely, it's savage, but it's so incredibly impressive. One of the tracks is half an hour long. Like, it's
29 minutes.
I think it's 5 tracks in an hour. There's one song on it that's half an hour long, but fuck me, that song's incredible. Like, it's track 2 on the record.
Wow.
And there's so much that goes on. There's a bit in that song that sounds like NoFX, which I was not expecting. I was not ready for that. On a band who are like a kind of insanely technical death metal thrash band, I wasn't expecting them to break into this kind of melodic punk moment, but it really worked at the moment. It just killed it. And you kind of understand, I think this astro-death is their thing, right? It's their shtick. And you couldn't write songs that sound like this and have them be about how much you miss your ex-girlfriend, could you? Unless your ex-girlfriend is an alien grey. Like, it's the only way that would ever work. Like, it's one of the most impressive and, like, outrageous musical projects you could probably ever listen to, this Cryptic Shift album. It's insane. You've really got to want it. If you want to listen to this whole record in one go, you've really got to want it, because they are going to put you through your fucking paces with this album.
Car journey banger
is
late night car journey hero.
100%, man. 100%. That is it. Like, I've been listening to it, like I say, walking around the village, pushing the pram with the dog, just in my own little world of like noodly riffs and these sort of like
new wheels on
rushy kind
pram.
of breakdown moments. Yeah, the prams total. The prams. I'm just grinding metal across the street at this point. But like, I know I compared it to Blood Incantation and Imperial Triumphant, and the thing is both those bands recently released their most digestible records to date, and this just ain't that. This is not digestible. This is punishing, and it's going to take you on, and you got to have the cojones to step to it. But if you do, like, I love albums like this where they like take 10 listens to actually even begin to understand what the fuck's going on. I love a band that make you work for it, and despite some of the things that I've said, I'm going to really get into this record. I'm going to really live inside this record.
I think your ability to consume this record, you're more predisposed to be able to accept this record and enjoy it because of your Between the Buried and Me.
Absolutely. I got no trouble
adoration.
listening to Colours in one sitting, and that's even longer. That's 75 minutes long, and it's one song. Like, I got absolutely no problem with that. I'm ready for it. I know that there's a lot of people out there who might struggle, and I know you're 100% one of them. Like, I think if that one 30-minute track was the whole record, you'd probably be happy. You'd probably be all right. And they've segregated it into like 8 movements. You'd probably be happy. I know this is a lot for you, but
It took me an entire day to listen to it because
you're not going to get the best out of it if you sit and listen to it in little pieces like that. You're not.
I know, but I had a Teams call and I was like, oh yeah, where am I again? Oh yeah, I've still got 45 minutes of this album to listen to. Taking a Teams call halfway through a 29-minute track is not the one. You're never going to have a concise.
That's like me and Nicola watch Killers of the Flower Moon over the course of a week, and it's like that's not. I know it's like a 4-hour movie, but you've got to watch it all in one go to really be inside the vibe of it all. And I think you'll probably have the same issue by not listening to this record in one sitting. As grueling as that is, I understand that's not a lot of people have got time to sit for an hour with a death metal record like that. I just happened to have been. Ruben was asleep and I wasn't ready to come home. I kept adding extra bits of my journey because when he's staying asleep, I'm just going to keep walking. I'm keeping adding more journey because he's asleep, and we need these naps because we are struggling to get them anywhere and any other way.
Featuring heavily on Neighborhood Watch Facebook groups after you're like. This geezer's
just me on Ring doorbell cameras all around my town. Just be like, why is this guy? People have been talking about me on the local Facebook group. They think I'm casing their joint. I'm just walking around listening to Cryptic Shift and making sure that my child stays
calling
asleep.
The Clanfield Creeper.
About Overspace and Supertime by Cryptic Shift. It's an incredible piece of work. You'll be even if you can only listen to it once, you'll be completely blown away by what you hear.
Before we go, I would like to talk about a deathcore EP from Traumatization. So this thing dropped the other day. It's out there in the world now. It's the self-titled debut EP, and this band absolutely rip, Gary.
They sure do.
Brutal deathcore. That's their vibe. And they're from Chicago. Their thing was Chicagoland, which I didn't know if that was like a genuine place that existed, or if that was just a cool way of saying Chicago. I had to look it up. Apparently it is.
It's not like a theme park in Chicago.
I guess it's like a...
It's like Thorpe Park.
You refer to the area as Chicagoland, like
I think.
Like, is it like? Yeah, I don't know.
Is Chicago Alton Towers? I know.
Yeah, this thing, mate. It's an absolute ass beater. It is so much fun, mate. We're inside such a brilliant thing happening in deathcore right now. It is crazy the absolute caliber of stuff that's knocking about. And this EP is brilliant. It doesn't sit exactly down that middle like a lot of the bands are. Like they're quite interchangeable, a lot of these deathcore revival bands right now, which is like, it's fine. Like we went through that not long ago with the old school death metal thing. Like, and then after a while, people just figure out their identities and they forge their own path, and that's absolutely fine. But these guys, they really have this brutal angle down. And it's not just exactly sort of cut and paste of like what's been cracking. Like the sheer sort of brutal element, like the awesome gutturals, the pig squeals all over the place, like the just intensity of it. Like they've nailed that. Like it's a really banging signature sound for like, for a debut EP. Like this is so goddamn strong. Like, Gary, if it's Nick's birthday coming up soon, I would think about maybe picking her up a copy of this.
Mother's Day. I've been looking for a good gift for Mother's
very
Day.
Soon. I've just seen the Mother's Day stuff in Tesco's just now. Actually, it's all knocking about.
Any Traumatization EP copies in Tesco's? No,
no. It's just there. It's underneath the flowers and the celebrations and the
Traumatization. The world's greatest mum mugs.
Yeah, it's great. Brilliant track titles like Tapestry of Flesh and It Won't Matter When You Die. Like, absolutely sick. Some really good features on the thing as well. Features from Reverend and Maud, which are like two of the other like best deathcore bands knocking about right now. Yeah, it manages to just sound so massive by landing sort of dead center in the violent three-way of like beatdown, hardcore, and deathcore. It's It's absolutely sick. They're a really cool band. I cannot recommend giving this a spin enough. And I know that there's a lot of this new deathcore knocking about, but this is really, really worth your time.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Just quickly before we get out of everybody's ears, there's one more little release we should talk about, which is HCPM by Killing Pace. Is it Easter Sunday because Jesus Peace just arose from the crypt after being nailed to the cross? Did you get what I did there? I was pretty clever with it. Yeah, I just thought we'll just quickly shout this out. It's absolutely outstanding. It's like 15 minutes long. It's metallic hardcore, but with loads of pure power violence, chaos. This album, yes, it is an album. 17 minutes long. It is an album. Absolutely rips. You've got to check out this Killing Pace album if you haven't. It's so good.
It's so hard, dude.
It's so hard.
Do you know what? There's not many records that could be as hard as that cover. You know,
as the front cover would suggest, yeah.
that cover, a lot of bands couldn't write an album as hard as that.
They couldn't live up to it, could they? No.
And I love as well that like the previous album is basically... It's like the same image, but like an indented like version of it. It's like the album from 2022 is like, it's like the same image, but then they just turned the spiky skull into like a 3D head, and then like they just like,
I love that.
It's so cool.
They got one really cool image, and they're gonna use it as much as possible. Respect to them. Yeah, no,
spiky skull head, guys. Like, oh mate. Yeah, this thing rips, dude. It's so sick, so ravenous, such a cool, like, it's very, very hard to see anything in the hardcore, like, realm coming out and being heavier and more badass than this year.
There's no chance.
It's kind of impossible. And what is quite lovely and refreshing is, like, that its heaviness doesn't, like, dip into, like, death metal. You know, there's a lot of that these days, and we all love it, but it's really nice to just have this like its own like, it's a heaviness that's derived from a punk and not a metal.
Absolutely.
Like,
it's pure power violence,
like an eternally stubbed.
Yeah, dude. I think the thing is as well, like with power violence, sometimes it can just turn into just hitting chords and playing really fast, and just your drummer just plays really fast, and that's kind of everything you've got. But Killing Pace have riffs, which I think is what makes it that much more exciting. Like they really do. There's really exciting moments where the riffs come through, and you know they'll chuck a breakdown at you out of nowhere, and you'll be two-stepping your little arse off, and it's awesome. It's just really relentlessly heavy, very awesome, exciting EP album. Sorry, and it's an album. It's an album.
Even in like the vocal delivery on the production, like I feel like most of the lines are sort of must have been recorded individually. Otherwise, he's a complete superhuman. Like I don't think he could do the whole thing. Like these big chunks.
You see him, and he's
too close to each other.
He's 3 times as wide as a normal person because his lungs are that big. He had to complete every vocal in one go. No, absolutely.
Yeah. It's like
I don't know how he does it live.
It's too insane. There's too much intensity for a human to be able to deliver it that much. He performs inside of an iron lung live. That's how he makes it work.
Yeah, man. HCPM by Killing Pace is absolutely savage. You need to get your ears behind it. It came out on the 16th of February, so it was a bit of a belated Valentine's Day present, wasn't it?
Yeah, nice. That's a load of stuff, isn't it?
That's a big bag of riffs, mate. That is a big old bag of riffs.
We had to do a bit of a catch-up one just to shake the old dust off, because we've been, just existing as fathers now, Gary.
Yeah, just doing our
We're just out there in the world making...
Too busy putting dummies back in babies' mouths to ever get a podcast done. Stop spitting it out. You know you want it. Just keep it in your mouth. What are you playing at?
I nearly took a picture of a poo earlier, Gary. That's how weird your life becomes when you become a dad. We just got a potty, right? He did put a turd in the potty for the first time earlier, right? It was just Jolene and like the group chat's obviously like Jolene and my mum and me, and I had to stop myself from taking a picture of a poo in a
you were so proud,
sending it to him to be like, look guys, and then I had to just like go. I mean, it makes sense. It's a milestone, right? It's like it's such a big thing.
100%, dude.
But there is just
there's a limit to what.
like 10 years ago that I'd be wanting to take a picture of a turd and send it to my mum. I'd be like, "Are you all right, mate?" It's just the sort of the weirdness that you get up to in your existence.
Yeah, my existence.
Did you send a
just
picture of
bizarre.
your son's first turd to your mother? Sound off in the comments. I'm interested.
Let us
Let us know, mate.
that is.
Just let us know. I'd love to see your comments. Next week, we'll do a little rundown of some upcoming records, Gary.
We'll be talking about Q2 and what's coming up. It's getting big and it's getting exciting.
Bananas, mate. And then we already had a show planned out, and then bloody Frozen Soul go and announce their album as well, don't they? It's mental. There is so many good albums coming. So next week we're going to do a bit of that. We're going to chat all about them. Thanks,
We'll
mate.
see you then.
Cheers. Good to see you.
Peace.
Bye.